Hello, my name is Sunday Bamidele from Abraham Adesanya Polytechnic, Yogibo, Ogun State here in Nigeria. I'm one of the instructors in the Polytechnic and a student of the Computer 8 Plus, the free online course. I'm here to carry out the assessment as slated in the curriculum, and I would like to identify the components in this computer system. Before I move on, I would like to rub my palms on the unpainted part of the computer system in order to reduce the effect of ESD on me and the system. So here we go. Rubbing my hands on the system will equalize the static charge on myself and that of system so that there won't be any damage to my body and that of the system. So after rubbing my hands, I will use the screwdriver to screw where necessary and use the clip where necessary as well. I will start from the back view of the desktop computer, and the back view of the desktop is this. From the top here, I have male and female power connector. This is the male power connector that receives power from the power outlets. This converts alternating current from the power outlet into the system, whereas the power pack itself, power supply, convert that alternating current to direct current, which is needed by the component. Here is the vent on the power supply that dissipates the heat from the system. We also have a female power supply that take power from the power supply into the monitor. That is in-to-in cable, supply power from the power supply into the monitor. We have other ports as well. Here is a PS2 cable, and the PS2 cable is of two types. We have this green color for the mouse and this purple color for keyboard. We also have a VGA connector here that can be used to connect to the either projector or monitor, where the operation going on within the system unit can be viewed on the output device. We also have a USB port that allow us to connect to a USB devices like printers, cameras, and some other components that uses PS2 port connector. This is a LAN connector port. This allows the system to be connected to local area network through the RJ45 jack port connector. We also have audio jack, audio connector. With this we can connect our microphone or headsets to the system. We have some veins here that allows the movement of air within the system outside and from outside into the system. This is a vein. We also have some interfaces here that allows adapter card, interface for adapter card. This is an open one. We have another one here. If there is any adapter card, we remove this on this cover. We remove this cover, we remove this cover. Here we also have a wireless adapter card connected to the system already, and this is the indicator, the LED that signifies the status of the adapter card. So this is wireless network adapter card, and these are screws that holds the casing into place. This is the side view with vents, another side view with vents, and this is the front view of the desktop. On the front view, we have the optical drive in its bay. We have the optical drive here, and we also have a USB port. This is a USB port, another USB port. This is a light, a LED that shows the status of hard disk in the system when the system is working. This is a reset button whenever the system is working and there is need to reset from the front view. You click on this, you press it, and the system will reset. This is a power button. The power button allows the system to get started and to start to work. That is the front view of the desktop. This is the top view, and this is the back view, bottom view of the desktop. Here we go. For me to have access to it, I have to unscrew the case, the cover, sorry, this is back side. Alright, even from this side, these are back side of the system. This is a standoff, part of the standoff to prevent the motherboard from touching the metal part of the system. Okay. With this, I won't be able to access the internal components. Okay. These are the internal components of the desktop system unit. We have many components in it. To start with, I will start from the power supply, which is the converter of alternating current to the direct current needed by the components. And from here, this is ATX power supply, produced, this is the maker, produced by Solid, and many cautions and specification of the power supply is written here. The rating is also here. Okay. There are a lot of cables attached or emanated from the power supply. I'm going to identify some of the cables. From what I'm holding here, this is a 4-pins power supply connector. This is a Molex that is used for by the optical drive as well as hard drive. So this is the Molex, and this is a badge used for floppy disk. This is used for floppy disk. Okay, this is another cable. This is an auxiliary power supply cable that is connected to the motherboard. This is another type of Molex cable already connected to the hard disk. We also have another type of power cable here. This is a serial power cable connected to the optical drive here. This type of optical drive power connector cannot be used with anyone without serial connector port at the back of the drive, so the two must be compatible. We also have a main power connector cable that supply power into the motherboard, and by counting of the point of this one, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, meaning this is a 24-pin power supply cable that supply power into the motherboard, because it's an ATX power supply. So that's that about power supply, and it can also be removed from the main case just unscrewing these screws. You want to remove, just unscrew this. Can be easily removed by removing this screw. So with this, the power supply can easily be removed. So here is the power supply. Another component I would like to identify is the optical drive. The optical drive allows the data to move from a compact disc or DVD in through the motherboard into the hard disk, either to access, copy, or install application. So with this optical drive can be removed by unscrewing this screwdriver screws. When you remove these screws, you bring it out and you can access it. This optical drive is powered by this cable, this optical cable, and as I've said earlier, this serial power connector cable must be compatible before it can work, meaning this cannot work for this optical drive because the connector is not serial, so you need this to power it. We also have a cable that goes into the optical drive that sends data. This is where the data passes through from the optical drive into the motherboard. So this is optical drive. From the front view, you can access it. When it is on and working, you press this button, the tray comes out, you insert the CD and close it back. So that is optical drive. Here I have data cable. This is a typical example of SATA cable. This is a SATA cable, and the other type of data cable is PATA, parallel adapter card. So this is a SATA cable. It connects the drive, that from optical drive or from the hard drive into the motherboard, where data passes and exchange of data. So this is another example. This is another example of data cable. We have additional one, data cable. Okay, so data cable. We have hard disk, the hard drive. The system is the component that stores all the programs. The software of the system reside in the hard drive. It houses the operating system, application package of application software, and every other software of the system. From the back view, this is the power supply goes in. You can also make use of SATA power supply at the same time as SATA data cable. So the manufacturer of this hard disk is Seagate, and many other descriptions were written at the back. So this is the hard drive of the system. We have some internal cables here as well. From the side here, there are a lot of buttons. From the front view, some of the buttons are LED, that is indicators. For example, this is a LED that supply power to the. Alright, this is a button that controls the power LED in the front. As soon as the power button is pressed, there is a need for an indicator to show that the system has started working. This is the LED that power. This is the cable that powers the LED. We also have another cable here. This cable is a reset button. Once a reset button is pressed, there this sends signal to the system, and the system will need to restart. Another button here is hard disk LED. This shows the status of hard disk. When it is properly working, the hard disk indicator begins to blink. This is the indicator for the hard disk. So whenever this is working well, it means this cable is properly plugged into the motherboard. This is the front USB cable connector. It connects the USB ports from the front to the motherboard. And this is power system button. This is the power button front. Once the power button is pressed, this controls the putting on and off the system. Okay, this is an adapter card. This is an adapter card, wireless adapter card. This is wireless adapter card. The maker is the D-Link and allows the system to connect to the network around wirelessly. Similar function with this LAN cable connector, but the difference is this is a wireless, while that is wired with cable. We have RAM here, random access memory. This random access memory of the system. The memory allows this system to work and store the files temporarily, and at the same time the data stored in the RAM is temporary. If there is power failure, the data stored in the RAM will get lost. And this is a DD-RAM for the system, and the size of this RAM is 2 gigabytes. Okay, that is RAM. This is the whole is a cooling system, and on the cooling system we have the fan. The fan tap is power through this cable from the motherboard. This supply power to the fan on the motherboard, and then below the fan is the heatsink, and below the heatsink is the processor, the CPU. So below this we have the heatsink directly connected to the the fan cools down the e-zinc and the e-zinc gets hot once the processor begins to work. And under the e-zinc we should have a thermal compound on this that allows the processor and the e-zinc to be firmly contacted, so that the heat generated by the CPU will be absorbed by the e-zinc and the fan blows away the heat on the e-zinc. That's the e-zinc. We also have the processor well secured by some clips. So this is a clip that secures the processor. We have another one on it. So this is the processor. This is a pinless processor, and then it's the memory, the device that carried out all the arithmetic and logic operation of the system. It requires zero insertion force to insert it into the socket. It's well secure and handled by the clip. On the motherboard we have many components. Here are two RAM slots. This is a RAM slot, another RAM slot. We have another e-zinc on the motherboard here. We have many capacitors. These are capacitors on the motherboard. We have PCI. The PCI allows the installation of this device, the wireless local area network device. This is where it's being installed. We also have PCIe Express on the motherboard. This is X16 and this is X1 PCIe on the motherboard. We have the BIOS chip. This is the BIOS chip. We have the CMOS battery that retains the settings of the system, be it the date, the time, and every other operating system settings on the motherboard. The BIOS chips retains the manufacturer operating system that allows the booting of the system. Whenever there is power failure, does not allow the programs on the BIOS chip. This is where the connector, the power supply cable, is being installed. The power supply cable goes into this connector to supply the power to the motherboard. The SATA cable is installed to this connector. This is SATA cable connector that supply data, that transfer data between the optical drive and the motherboard, or between the hard disk and the motherboard. Okay, with this we have this material that serves as standoff for this motherboard, that prevents this motherboard from touching the metal parts of the case because of electrical spark. Okay, and we have a lot of buses within the motherboard where data travels in a silver color. So with this, these are available spaces that allow additional installation of adapter cards. So this can be removed, but there's no need to remove this because there's no PCIe available here. But since this available here, one is removed, it's available here, one is removed, and for this can as well be removed when there is need for that. With that, this is a whole case that protects the whole internal components from external affairs. With this, I'm done with the identification of the internal components. Once again, my name is Sunday Bamidele from Abraham Adesanya Polytechnic, Yewigo, Ogun State in Nigeria. Thank you.